Hot yoga teachers, strict or lenient? Most people, when they start teaching, they have an idea of what kind of teacher they want to be, based on maybe what kind of class they want to take, or based on teachers that inspire them to be a teacher in the first place. Strict versus lenient. Which class do you like to take? What kind of teacher do you want to be? Maybe a combination of both, because there's pros and cons to each side. Let's talk about that. Many new teachers sometimes compensate for not having the experience. They're not as confident when they first start out teaching. So a lot of them will overcompensate, and some of them will be either extremely nice and some of them can be extremely strict because they're trying to compensate for lack of experience. Before we continue, if you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing, hit the notification bell. Any questions or comments, you want to learn all about hot yoga tutorials, factoids, flows, hit the like and the subscribe button right now. Let's look at the lenient teacher first. And there's nothing wrong with it. A lot of times it really may match your personality. Many teachers want to create a very safe space, a wonderful, relaxed environment, no pressure, don't want to push you too far. They have an idea that yoga is loving and accepting. It's not about competition. It's not about how far you can stretch your body. It's about exploring, about being mindful, about being in the moment. Nothing wrong with that. In fact, Lilias Folan, who's one of the pioneers of yoga in this country, she was on PBS. If you're outside the United States, it's a public television station back in the 1970s. And she taught a very relaxed, gentle type of yoga. She did puppy pose, little mermaid pose, and child pose. I've talked about Lilias before. And I had the honor of actually writing an endorsement in one of her books. It's not the yoga that I do, it's not the way that I teach, but there's nothing wrong with being lenient if that's the type of class and the environment you want to create for your students, for yourself. By the way, if you're interested in becoming a hot yoga teacher, we have live and online teacher training program options available. I put links in the description below. We'd love to have you join the family. You can book a call, get on a private Zoom call with me, and I can give you a preview. Either become a yoga teacher or you're already a teacher, take it to the next level. The 200-hour would be an option if you want to become a yoga teacher. The 300-hour option if you're already a teacher to earn your 500-hour status. Click the link below. So what's the con about being too lenient or too relaxed, creating that relaxed environment? A lot of times in a relaxed environment, no pressure, no pushing, you may not be challenging the students enough. They may like you. They may think you're a wonderful person. They may want to go out to lunch with you.
And if you need a friend, get a dog.
But they may not come back tomorrow and pay you $25 if they're not getting results. And this is another con. Sometimes the cues can be a little bit too relaxed. Like they'll say, when you're ready, step your right leg up. Well, what if they're not ready? What if they just want to be in that mindful position? Now you have somebody stepping up and somebody not stepping up. What if they're not ready? What if they don't want to? What if Mercury's in retrograde? My suggestion is to give an actual command. Step that right leg up and eliminate when you're ready. Another popular cue is to explore your own postures. When you have people in the room doing different positions, first of all, the new people are going to be really confused. What am I supposed to be doing here? I'm trying to look at the regular students as a reference and I can't and there's no reference because everyone is doing something different. Now there's really no class. One of my favorite parts of yoga class is what we call entrainment, where everyone is doing the same thing at the same time, at the same pace. It's a class. I remember I was in a class with Rodney, a very popular yoga teacher from another style of yoga, and somebody was doing a different posture, and he came over to her and very quietly, I was next to him, I could hear it, but very quietly he whispered to her ear, "It's taking me 25 years to calculate my words, stay in class." So he is very nicely, but at the same time having an authoritarian tone. Please don't do other postures. It's distracting to other students. You might as well just, if you want to do your own thing, why are you in a class in the first place? So if you're too relaxed and people are doing all different kind of things, there's really no class environment or no structure. Another con to being a little bit too lenient, being more on the relaxed side, a lot of times people are just going to give up early. If you're not challenging them, they're not going to challenge themselves. So people are coming out of the posture earlier, they're starting the posture late. And once again, you're losing that whole entrainment. I'm not saying everybody's got to start at the exact same time, that everybody has to finish the exact same time. But once again, if it's too lenient, there's not much structure there, people are going to be falling out early. People will start late. Where's the structure? Where's the classroom situation? Now for the strict side, which is a little bit more on the hot yoga world. There are hot yoga teachers that are on the lenient side, but most of the teachers in the hot yoga world are on the stricter side. In fact, many of the Bikram teachers are on the extreme strict side. And like I said, a lot of times, and I did the same thing. I was guilty actually of the same thing. When I first started teaching, I was more strict than I've ever been in my entire career because I was compensating for lack of experience. I'm going to make sure everyone's doing exactly what they're supposed to do and do exactly what I say they're going to do. And again, overcompensating. The pro to being strict, and actually it's more traditional. A lot of people that come from that, oh, everything is wonderful and yoga teachers are just loving and accepting. Again, nothing wrong with it, and I'm not making fun of it. I'm just saying it's not traditional. Now, Bikram wasn't just the only disciplinarian teacher. His teacher, Vishnu Ghosh, was extremely disciplined. And it wasn't just in the hot yoga world. Iyengar, who from a non-hot yoga teacher, he came from down south in Mysore, was extremely disciplined. When his daughter took over his classes, she was even more structured and more disciplined. I heard, I didn't witness it directly, that Iyengar would make somebody cry in every class that he taught because he was so strict. He would scream out the instructions and scream out the command. Everyone would jump to that position, and that's not from the hot yoga world. Vishnu Devananda wrote a very famous book called The Complete Illustrated Book of Yoga, and in that book he says, the yoga room is a dictatorship. What the teacher says goes. Also, and interestingly enough, Shivananda has a reputation of being more relaxed. Vishnu Devananda, who is definitely one of the top senior teachers in that particular style of yoga, was also strict within his writing. This is a dictatorship. Yogananda, who was Vishnu Ghosh's teacher, Bikram's teacher's teacher, also my guru. Yogananda, also very strict, and his guru, Swami Sri Yukteswar, was a disciplinarian. He had people scrubbing toilets and cleaning up the ashram and doing laborious things in the ashram for long periods of time. Very, very strict. Sometimes you weren't allowed to speak unless spoken to. So a lot of people have this image of yoga teachers being this loving, wonderful person, and they are. And the bigger picture is absolutely they're creating a love and a connection to the universe and everyone in it. But there's a strict discipline involved that comes along with the territory. There was actually a semi-scandal that happened last year in New York City. Actually, it's the beginning of this year in New York City. One of the Bikram teachers was definitely a disciplinarian, and someone was taking a drink of water, and they said, no, this is not water time. There are specific times in the Bikram world, he calls it party time. Designated water breaks. You can take a drink of water, but other times you are not allowed to, and the teacher will reprimand you. And this person happened to be a TikTok influencer, and she was outraged that she wasn't allowed to drink water at the time, so she's posted it on TikTok. The New York Times even picked it up and did a whole article about it. So how strict do you want to be? In this day and age, it can be interpreted as being too extreme. So the pro to being strict is everyone's doing the same thing at the same time, and there's entrainment, like a school of fish, or like a flock of birds flying in entrainment. Everyone's doing the same postures. The beginning people are not going to be distracted. They're going to look at the regular students and have a reference and follow that reference and follow that guideline. The teacher that was most strict for me was not Bikram, was Bikram's brother, Buddha. He came from Japan. Bikram was in Japan. I don't know if he took over Bikram school when Bikram left Japan way back in the late 1960s, early 70s. But Buddha was Bikram's younger brother, and he was very strict. We had to stand at attention between each pose. God forbid we picked up our towel to wipe ourselves. There was no water bottles in the room at that point. They hadn't even really invented water bottles until the mid-1980s. I think it was Evian that really started the water bottle thing. So we'd go out and drink a cone of water from those big 5-gallon, but we had to start exactly when he said to. We had to finish exactly when he said to. We were exhausted after the class, and that was doing 3-4 classes a day at the time. He definitely kicked our butts. Very, very strict. No fun. It was not a relaxing environment. My suggestion is have both, a balance where you can be fun and relaxed. I mean, there was nobody had more fun in the class than Bikram himself. He would talk about a restaurant he had been to, a movie he had gone to. He would tell a joke. He would have fun. He would enjoy. In fact, the very first book that Bikram wrote, Bikram's Beginning Yoga Class, Julia Prowse was on the cover. Shirley MacLaine was supposed to be on the cover, but she withdrew because the book was making a fun, relaxed environment, and she thought that wasn't really what this class was supposed to be. It was supposed to be a lot more disciplined and more structured, interestingly enough. When Bikram first came to this country, he was a little more strict, but he slowly began to loosen up, and he began to sort of Americanize, if you will, and it started to loosen up a little bit. But Bikram, if you cut Bikram's eye, he would definitely get on you. Back in the early 1980s, when I first started taking class with Bikram, and I was in his unofficial, informal teacher training program. There's only 3 of us. We were doing 3-4 classes a day. For us, he was very, very disciplined. He was very strict toward us. We could never give up from the pose until he told us to. We weren't supposed to even start kicking the leg out, let's say, and standing head to knee until he told us to. But he was a lot more lenient with the rest of the group, the mainstream class. So he was strict and lenient at the same time. And that's what I suggest. You can create a structured environment. You want everyone to start at the same time. They're not going to finish at the same time no matter what you do. People are going to give up early because they get tired, especially in a heated room in hot yoga. Your presence can demand discipline. Your presence can demand a structured environment. But at the same time, without making, this is my main suggestion, without making discipline the main focus, making yoga the main focus. And that's something Bikram always did. Yoga was his main focus. He wasn't so concerned that everybody listened to exactly what he said all the time. And if they didn't, he'd freak out. He would on occasion, but that wasn't his main thing. His main thing was making sure you did the best yoga that you can be. So when we have a balance of the two, create a structured environment, but at the same time, you can loosen up a little bit, relax. You can create a relaxed environment. You can have fun in the class. Today, there's two old men at the wall, and they were using the wall to balance and standing bow. And I said, oh, we could call this the geriatric wall from now on. And everybody laughed. I mean, I could be in that wall too, because I'm just turned 7 years old. The point I'm making is you can have fun, you can relax, you can enjoy the process without making discipline your main focus, but at the same time, creating a structured environment for an entrainment to create a very strong, dependable, consistent class. So what's my suggestion? Both strict and lenient, and a wonderful combination of both. As we're winding down from the holidays, I wish everybody a happy holiday from the Barkan Method. Where I'm going to be in next month in January 17th in Delray, Florida at Atta Yoga. On January 23rd to 25th, I'm going to be in Blissful Spirits in New Mexico, in Albuquerque, New Mexico at Melanie's studio. I'd love to have you join us. I put links in the description below. So that's our episode for today. Thank you so much for watching. If you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing, hit the notification bell. Any questions or comments, put them down below. I'm happy to get back to you, and I'll see you at the next video. Bye, everyone.